You've got nothing else to show for all that time spent in your room alone, wallowing in your own self-pity, fearing that you'd never make it, procrastinating, stalling, falling into that routine of watching from the comfort of your home instead of being the one that's taken back what was meant to be, because ain't nobody coming knocking on my door to come get me. Those are lyrics to the song called Fed Up that I just put out, my own original song. I make music occasionally under the name Violet Eyes. I wrote this song before I came to Japan. Let me read you one other lyric from that. I mean, I could go through the entire song's lyrics and break them down and give you a step-by-step analysis of what I was thinking when I wrote these lyrics, but let me read to you one more line that I feel is important. The longer I stay here, I fall victim to the climate. I'm leaving it behind, so if you see me getting mine, don't think about hitting my line. Just turn around and take my advice. What do you guys think I wrote that song about? I'll wait. What do you think I wrote that song about? I wrote that song right before I came to Japan. I just put it out now. We had some issues with the release and such, but 2 years ago I wrote that song before I came to Japan. If you got anything from those lyrics, I'm hoping you're understanding that I was fed up, as in the title of the song says, I was fed up. What was I fed up with? I was fed up with my life. I was fed up with the monotonous routine every day in America, having no dreams, no aspirations. I would go back and forth to my serving job every single day. I'm sure you guys are thinking, dude, why didn't you just go to school? Why didn't I go? Dude, school sucks, man. I hate school. Go to school so I can be taught by a bunch of really dumb teachers who have huge egos, think I'm an idiot, treating me like an idiot while I'm paying them thousands and thousands of dollars and going into debt to get a degree that might not get me a job even. Obviously, I'm here in Japan on a student visa now in school, but that's largely because I just want to stay here in Japan longer. I mean, it's the only way for me to stay in Japan longer. I was going back and forth to my serving job every single day, thinking for the last 8-10 years that I was just working. I was playing in a band. The band thing fizzled out. I had a girlfriend that we broke up. I would go back and forth to my serving job. I would go to the gym, and I would come home and I would play Apex Legends, watch Cornhub. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. But every single job that I worked at, every single place that I went to, every job that I worked at, every social circle I hung out in, everybody asked me, hey Jimmy, what are you going to do? And then I would tell them, I don't know, I'm cool, I'm happy, like I'm just kind of doing my thing, you know, I'm just working at this restaurant, and that's just kind of my thing, like I'm fine with it. And I was fine with it for a year or so. But every time I told someone something like that, they would always say, you could do so much. You're so smart. You're so interesting. I know this sounds conceited and ridiculous, and you're probably thinking they didn't actually tell you that. Okay, I mean, you guys can think what you want. I'm not trying to act like I'm. The point isn't how smart I am. Every job that I worked at, everyone said, dude, how come you're not a manager? How come you're not climbing the ranks? And I would say, well, because I don't want to do this forever, man. And they say, well, what do you want to do? I don't know. I'll figure it out sometime. Then I was 25, and I was telling myself and telling other people, I'll figure it out sometime. I was telling them that anytime they asked me what I wanted to do with my life, I was telling them that for the last like 10 years. There comes a certain point when you're just like, okay, if nothing sounds enticing to me, maybe I should just take the dive. Maybe I should just do something. Because at this point, nothing is gonna be perfect to me, and I'm like a perfectionist. Like, I need something to be perfect. I'm very picky. I'm very picky with the people that I choose to spend my time with. I'm very picky with the women that I like. Guys always say, dude, you wouldn't be down for that chick? Come on, man. I'm picky, man. And so whenever somebody suggested something to me, whenever somebody said, well, why don't you do this? This seems like it would fit your personality style. Why don't you go down this career path? Why don't you study this in school? I was looking for my dream job, and I still am looking for my dream job. I'm not gonna settle for something else. I'm not gonna settle for, because I see all these people around me who all settled and everyone's going back and forth to their job every single day, and they're 50 years old, and they settled for the fat chick who's a 6, and the job that pays $50K a year, but they like it because job security, they get benefits, they don't have to work too hard. They're settled to stay in the same hometown where they've lived for their entire life. Not because it's what they really, really wanted to do, not because it sounded perfect for them, not because it sounded like their dream life, but because it was secure and they didn't know what else to do, so they settled. And I look at people like that, and sure, some people maybe are really, really happy like that. Maybe some people are incredibly satisfied, and that's great, and I'm genuinely happy for you. This isn't about hating on people who live in their hometown, because I genuinely believe that's a good thing, and a lot of people who are doing that are very happy. And I'm envious of you, by the way. But there are a lot of people doing that who simply settled, and they're not happy with their lives. And I know for me, particularly, if I would have chosen that lifestyle, if I would have settled for something like that, oh dude, I'd be deleting myself before too long. Ever since I was a little kid, man, I was dreaming. When I was a young little kid, I wanted to be a professional skateboarder. And then after that, I wanted to be a professional baseball player. And what did I do? I skateboarded every single day when I was a little kid. I decided I was over skateboarding. I started playing baseball every single day. Every single day. Tried hard. Found out I wasn't quite cutting it. Got kind of sick of baseball. And I quit. Then what did I want to do? I wanted to be a professional musician. I wanted to play in a band. I thought that was awesome. So I dropped everything I was doing. I played in a band, and everybody said, dude, you're not a musician. What do you think? You can't sing. You're a baseball player, man. All the guys on the baseball team were pissed at me for leaving them. They're like, man, you got to pitch for us next season. I was like, every time I listen to music, man, I just imagine myself in a music video. I just imagine myself singing the words, like, you know, when you're like, every time you listen, I don't know if you guys are like me, but every time I listen to a song, like, I imagine myself like in the music video. And I used to do that, like riding the bus to and from school when I was in like middle school. And I had this thought for years and years that I wanted to play in a band, and I wanted to, like, it must be the coolest feeling in the world to sing your own original music and have people sing the words back to you. And I remember always thinking that, and then I started going to concerts, and I was like, wow, like, that is, it's already fun enough being in the crowd singing someone's words back to them, but then imagine you're on stage and everybody else is singing your words back to you. Imagine that feeling. I'm like, what does that feel like? I want to try that. I want to do that. I didn't have any knowledge of music, had no musical ability, no talent, but I went on Facebook, searched around for some local music groups, trying to find people with similar interests. Tried out for a couple bands and did not get accepted, did not get in. I was terrible. And eventually, I found a band that was desperate enough to let me join their bands. And what happens? We sucked at first, but after a few years, it turned out to make some pretty good music. Band is Mishandled, by the way. They're called Mishandled. Played some pretty good music. Had a lot of people singing our words back to us. We played a sold-out crowd. A couple times we played sold-out shows, 300 people or so. I said, dude, I've got this dream. I don't want to just go through high school and go through the rest of my life working and wondering what it could be like. Wondering what it could be like to pursue this dream that I have. Like, every single time I listen to music for the last 10 years, this is, you know, when I was younger, I was thinking this. Like, I'm always imagining myself in a music video, always imagining myself being a singer. Like, I want to do this. I don't know how. I don't know how though. What are people gonna think of me? And I just figured that feeling eating me up every single time that I listen to music, that, man, what does that feel like? I want to do that someday, but I'm scared. That was hurting me far more than the fear of what are people going to think of me? Am I going to be bad at singing? So I said, you know what, screw it. Like, I'm going to go do this thing. And I did it, and we sucked at first. It wasn't good, but we ended up being a pretty decent band, played some big shows, and I had the time of my life. And eventually I realized that wasn't the life that I wanted to live anymore, but I had a great time doing it. I learned so much. I actually made friends here in Japan who are fans of our music from Japan. Like, they live here in Japan, found our music, and then when I moved to Japan, I met them. And then after that, after the band fizzled out, Like I said, I worked in restaurants for years. It was fun just doing that full time for a year or two. Made a lot of friends, learned how to talk to people, learned how to entertain people at tables, learned how to get thicker skin, learned how to multitask, learned about alcohols, food, learned how to cook, learned so many different skills related to food and just life and communication in general. Like I said, learned how to shoot the shit with tables, entertain people, and eventually felt like I had exhausted everything there was for me to learn, everything there was for me to get out of that type of job, but I didn't know what I was going to do next. I was like, what? Okay, I don't want to be a server, okay. Do I want to just go around and go to college just because I have no other options? Just because I don't know what else I'm going to do? Go to college and spend a whole bunch of money to be there? And not know what exactly I'm going to get out of it? Just go because people told me to, because society told me to? Go deep into debt and get bossed around by a bunch of crazy teachers with egos for 5 years? Hell no, dude. You got me fucked up. So another thing I always thought about doing was I thought about going across the world, moving somewhere, moving to a different country, and seeing what comes with that. Maybe it'll be such an immersive experience, such a foreign, different experience that it'll force me to realize what I truly value in life. I've got all this money saved up for the last 10 years or whatever that I was serving tables in restaurants, making all types of tips. And what's it like? I got all this money saved up for nothing. Like I could have freaking put down a payment for a house or something with all the money I had saved up. Well, nothing here in America entices me. I go to work and I come home and I spend all this time without direction consuming content on YouTube. I love YouTube. Hey, I love YouTube, man. There's nothing I love more than sitting down with a plate of my favorite food that I just made, breakfast, dude, and digging into some YouTube. Boys, back me up. Tell me if anyone can relate. Nothing I love more. Sitting down with a full plate of food and digging into some YouTube, man. But I spent all this time consuming this content, and I love traveling. I love traveling so much. I always thought since I was young that I would want to live in a different place, in a different country sometime. Just see what it's like, man. Just see what I get out of it. Like I said, see if it teaches me something about myself and I learn what my true values are. Maybe I'll learn what I want to do with my life, what I want to study in school or something. And I was spending all this time watching Japan YouTubers because I had been to Japan before. I had such a good time. I was really intrigued by the culture. I was specifically watching this guy called Jake and Bake Live. I don't know if you guys have seen him, but he was really funny. And I was watching this IRL streamer named Jake and Bake Live. And I just remember thinking, like, I'm living vicariously through this guy. And he's making money off of me watching his videos. He's making ad revenue. I'm watching his videos. And I'm just sitting here. I've been doing this for like 2 years, watching this guy's content. Just sitting at home watching him do this and like feeling good about it and feeling happy about that. Eventually, it hit me where I was just like that could be me. I have the money. I have nothing here for me in America. There's nothing really holding me back. Nothing entices me here. I have no dreams. Why am I not just going to Japan? It's like the lyrics I wrote. It's like, how much longer, whatever the lyrics are, how much longer are you going to be sitting at home on your couch, consuming someone else's content, and just talking about how fun that looks or how cool they are? That could be you, man. And I was just like, I'm sick of this. I've spent the last 10 years wondering what's out there for me. Every night that I go to bed, every night that I come home, slam the door for my serving job, wipe the scum and food off of my body, get the shitty smell of oil and grease off of my body, think about all the tables that bitched at me and gave me attitude all night, the cooks that yelled at me for putting in an order late. And I did that every single day for years. And I would come home, wash all that shit off me, and I would lay in bed, and I would just think, like, man, I'm so much smarter than everyone that I work with. Obviously not everyone, but I'm so much smarter than the average person working here. I've got such a different life view than every person working here. Every time someone asks me something, I feel like I have like an interesting answer to it. I'm not satisfied with things that other people are satisfied with. I want to do something crazy. I want to do something great. Everyone else is satisfied just doing the same thing. And I was like, I'm different. Like I'm not like these people. There's got to be something more out there for me. This can't just be what life has to offer. And at least at a serving job, I had some type of freedom. At least I could kind of be relaxed in my workplace, kind of wear what I wanted. Could eat some good food, make tips, get paid on the day. At least I wasn't going to an office having to bow down to some boss every day. Bow down to some boss and take it in the ass from all my coworkers and all the company policies. Like, fuck that, dude. But I was just like, this isn't it for me. I gotta do something else, and I'm starting to get toward my mid-20s. Like, at what point am I just gonna suck it up and just go for it? I've spent the last 10 years thinking, when am I gonna be something? When am I gonna do something crazy? When is it gonna come to me? When is it gonna come to me, this idea of like what I wanna do with my life? Okay, nothing's coming. I spent 10 years. Am I gonna spend another 10 years? I'm gonna be 35 wondering what I'm gonna do with my life. I'm gonna meet people, meet girls, and they're gonna say, "What? You're just happy doing this?" And I'll say, well, I spent the last 20 years thinking that it would just come to me eventually, but I wasn't doing anything different. I just lived the same exact life in the same exact place, surrounded by the same people doing the same thing every single day, and imagine that. Nothing came to me. No ideas came to me. I never found out what I wanted to do with my life. So I was interested in Japan. I realized that I was just consuming all of the Japan content instead of actually being the guy out here doing the Japan thing, making the content. Packed all my stuff up, said peace out mama, and I came out here to Japan. And it has been so immersive here, so shocking, such a different environment, that it really has forced me to understand what my values are, to understand what makes me happy, what makes me tick, what I want to do with my life. And like I said, a large part of the reason why I'm going to college here is simply just to stay in Japan longer. But I did find something that I enjoy studying. I enjoy studying the language. I enjoy studying business to a certain degree. I'm studying international business in college. And additionally, I've learned so many other lessons living here about what family means to me, what my friends mean to me. The challenges of learning how to fit into another culture. I've learned how strong I am, how independent I can be, coming out here completely on my own. I've learned so many incredible life lessons. And I learned about content creation, another thing that I always thought I wanted to do, but I didn't know what I was going to make videos about. And I lived here for a year in Japan, over a year, thinking I want to make some type of video, but I don't know what I'm going to make videos about. I don't know, what do I have to say to anybody? I don't have anything interesting to say. Who's going to watch videos of me? I don't know. And I remember one day I was super annoyed, I was super pissed off because I had this conversation with this girl. And she was basically saying she didn't want to go on a date with me because I didn't drink alcohol. And I told her that was ridiculous. And we got into like a little bit of an argument because she was like saying, well, if we go out, you're going to have to drink. And I was like, that's ridiculous. And she's like, well, drinks taste better when someone's drinking with you. And I was like, that makes no sense because it has actually zero effect on you whether I drink or not. Anyways, we got into a long argument and I was super annoyed about it. And I was like, okay, now you know what? I have something to talk about. I have something in my mind, something I want to vent about, and I'm just going to put it on video. And I picked up this GoPro that my mom bought me years and years ago. And I just went out to Shinjuku and I made this video about drinking and how you should not be ashamed if you don't drink. Sobriety is cool, etc., etc. I'm sure you get the idea. And I was like, man, that was cool. I don't really have anything super interesting or original to say. Not sure if anybody's gonna watch my videos, but like I felt that it was therapeutic to get my voice out there, to get my opinion out there. And I feel like someone else probably understands what I'm saying and relates to what I'm saying, but maybe hasn't heard anyone else say it. And I also feel like it's filling this artistic gap that's kind of been left behind after I quit the music so much and not really doing the band anymore. So I was like, I'm gonna do that again. I started making some videos and just put them out over and over again, and eventually some people started watching. So if you're watching, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Let me read these lyrics to you one more time. If it didn't get through your head the first time, let me run it back for you. The longer I stay here, I fall victim to the climate. I'm leaving it behind. So if you see me getting mine, don't think about hitting my line. Just turn around and take my advice. 'Cause you got nothing else to show for all the time you spent in your room alone, wallowing in your own self-pity, fearing that you'd never make it, procrastinating, stalling, falling into that routine of watching from the comfort of your home instead of being the one that's taken back what was meant to be. So ain't nobody coming knocking on my door to come get me. Shit's not gonna come to you, man. Nobody's gonna tell you what you wanna do with your life. The idea isn't going to magically pop into your head if you've been doing the same thing with your life for the last 20 years. You need to change up your environment. Stop being the guy consuming all the content. Stop being the guy sitting on his couch with Cheeto dust all over his fingers, busting Mountain Dew nuts all over his chest, coming home angry and fed up, looking at his fat wife, living in the same place he's lived for his whole life because he's afraid to go anywhere else because he's unsure of what it will be like, doesn't think it will be comfortable. Are you gonna be that guy? Or are you gonna be the guy that says, you know what, screw it. These thoughts haunting me every single day I can't sleep because I'm sitting in bed. I'm just sitting in bed wondering, man, what else is out there for me, man? Everywhere I go, I feel like I'm different than the people that are around me. Every time someone asks me what I want to do with my life, I almost get embarrassed because I don't want to tell them what I want to do, because this thing that I really want to do is larger than life. It's larger than most of the goals that normal people say. What are they going to look at me like? Are they going to say I'm crazy? I remember being in high school and my academic director asked me what I want to do with my life. And I said, I want to be a professional baseball player. And she started laughing. She was like, and she's like, let's be a little realistic here. Okay, now, you may be good at baseball, but blah, blah, blah. And I just remember, this is so stupid, man. I was freshman year of high school, and I was brand new into, I was doing the registration thing in high school, and I told this lady that, and she laughed in my face. I remember as soon as I got home, I went into my room and I did 100 swings of the baseball. I had this baseball bat in my room, and I took it. I was in my room. I was almost like knocking stuff over, but I just started swinging as hard as I can. I did 100 swings, and I was like, I'll show her. I'll show her. If I could just capture that energy, bottle it up, and shove it up my, just boof it up my ass, dude, I would be the most successful man on the planet. But at the very least, I have managed to save a little bit of that energy. And anytime I'm lacking motivation, I think back to those thoughts that I had when I was living in the US, and I would come home from this job that I was annoyed with, and I would just lay in my bed every night thinking, I'm not like these people. I'm not like everyone else out here. I want to do something else. I know there's something else that I can do. I know there's something bigger for me. I know there's more out there for me. This is eating me alive every single day. I'm not going to be the guy sitting on his couch watching everyone else do things anymore. I'm going to be the guy doing it. If I fail, so be it. But even failing would be more exciting than doing what I'm doing now, doing what I've been doing for the last 10 years. Wanted to off myself, so. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully someone can gather some type of inspiration from this video. My name's yungjamez. Thanks for watching, guys. We gotta go get it. Nobody's coming to your door. Nobody's knocking on your door coming to get you. You gotta be the one to go get it. Alright? Thanks for watching. yungjamez, YUNGJMEZ. Peace out.